Hello and welcome to another Draw with Edgar. This is a nice rainy afternoon here at my studio. Well, okay, it's not really a studio, it's my living room, but don't tell anybody important that because to me, totally a studio. This week's theme was fantasy. Which, I thought we were going to have some dragon fights, some monsters popping out, people going through dungeons and searching for ancient treasures. Nah, not really. The requests were a little more silly, I guess. We have a couple really cool ones, but mostly just silly. Like this one. This one, totally silly, and that's okay because it's somebody who doesn't want to fight bonking a tonberry on the head. Now, when I thought of tonberries, I remember playing a lot of the older Final Fantasies. Tonberries were not really anything to laugh at. Sure, they moved real slow, but if they reached you, they would stab you with a kitchen knife and kill you. And you wouldn't really have much of a chance to survive their stabbing because they did a lot of damage, as I recall. But White Mage bonking a Tonberry on the head is what I'm drawing now. And I have the videos sped up to a little faster than what I had last time because they sort of moved on pretty long. This first one, however, for some reason, my recording got a little slower. Like the camera wasn't recording as consistently as it should and as it usually does with other videos. So the first one gets a little sketchy and hard to follow later on, but the other ones should be just fine, as I recall. Anyway, I'm sure you don't need me to talk about art the whole time. After all, why would I do that? You're watching me art. And this is free sketch art, so really, if you want, you can head on over to my page on FurAffinity. Link is below in order to go and get yourself entered for free sketches. And this free sketch art, anybody can enter. You do not have to be a furry. You just have to have a character and an idea that fits the current theme. This week is going to be celebrations and festivals. So, like fireworks and street parades, carnivals, Rio de Janeiro, Cinco de Mayo stuff, whatever you really want in a celebration. Heck, even personal celebrations like, oh, it's my birthday, or welcome home, soldier, that sort of thing. Oh, hello, kitty. What do you do? Am I talking too much for you? Am I waking you up from your nap? Sorry, my cat is here. Her name is Mist. She is a lovely gray kitty. She has a little bit of a stripy pattern and a lighter underbelly. She doesn't really meow. She squeaks sometimes, like whines, but she doesn't meow. And when she shows you her belly, she actually wants you to sort of rub it a little bit, which is weird for cats. Most of them don't like you touching their bellies, but her, she's cool with it because she's got like a pudgy belly. It's even cooler because it's nice and soft and a little bit wiggly. But that's my cat. Anyway, I had some people over today and we were playing card games. The game we were playing is called Dominion. If any of you have heard of Dominion, you'll know that it's a really awesome game. In fact, I've been teaching these people how to play for a while. We've mostly been sticking to the first three parts of the game, regular Dominion, Seaside expansion, and Prosperity expansion. Those to me are sort of like the core Dominion parts. But they haven't really been able to beat me, and we've been playing for a few weeks. Today, I only won 1 out of 4 games. I got second place in one of the games, and I got last place in 2 of the games. And I'm proud of them. I'm happy. It's great. Of course, that also means that now we can move on to other expansions, and I can totally destroy them, because I own all the expansions to Dominion except Hinterlands. Yes, I even own Dark Ages, which is the one where online, for one reason or another, it's becoming incredibly expensive. And I think they might be canceling it or putting it out of production or something, and that might be why. Or maybe it's just not readily available and people really like the name Dark Ages. But I mean, it's all about trashing your cards, so it's only a so-so expansion. Of course, I have fun either way. Dark Ages, Empires, those are the newest ones, or the ones that I picked up most recently. Not the newest ones. But it's a really easy game to learn. But it is a lot of fun because the game changes every time because you can put in different kingdom cards. It's the king of deck builder games. So if you enjoy deck building games, chances are they got most of their rule ideas from Dominion. Oh, and look at that. The video is starting to get all choppy. See, I told you, I warned you if you were listening to me. If you weren't, then hey, look, it's getting choppy. Anyway, see, my kitty went out onto the porch. She is getting really afraid of the rain and is looking at me like I need to let her back in. Well, you asked to go out on the porch, baby. You're, She looks so silly. I wish I could show you this right now, but, I'll just have to maybe show you some pictures later if anybody actually wants to see Mist. Anyway, so the video is getting choppy, but it's getting close to the end. Like I said, I sped things up a bit, so there's not as much time spent on one single image. And this one, it's cutting, like, you can hardly see what I'm doing, really. You just know that something is happening. But here is the finished image. Boom! And see that transition I did kind of reminded me of the blur out from the earlier Final Fantasy games, where it's like do 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 do. You don't need to listen to me doing that. Nobody wants to hear that, I'm sure. Nobody. This image requested by, oh, who was it? Keys the Spider Queen? Anyway, the main request, they said that they enjoyed the game. I have no idea what game this is from, I'm being completely honest, but there's this dragon that's dying. I know he's bleeding out, and apparently he gives like a 10-minute monologue. And it's like, dude, you're bleeding out. I didn't get that much time to bleed out when I was LARPing, and sure as heck I couldn't talk while I was dying. You're out on the ground, you have blood gushing out, and you have 10 minutes to talk about it? Come on. You're mortally wounded by a guy with a pointy thing. Sword, spear, whatever. Of course, in this image, it was more like, oh, sword and spear. And there was armor reference. Again, still wasn't sure where it was from, but I tried to follow it as much as I could. I was talking about card games. I used to do like Magic the Gathering, but people take that game way too seriously. Most people get really annoyed when their cards that they spent hundreds of dollars collecting get beaten by, just a bunch of commons and uncommons, which is what I usually ran, mostly because I had cards from the beta, post-beta releases. So I had the misprint of a bunch of different cards, Like I had Demonic Tutor. I had the Frozen Shade, was it? I don't remember. The one where you give it mana and it's just +1/+1. That's just it. But I mean, yes, it was revised, so it's +1/+1 until end of turn, and that's actually how we always played it anyway. So it, you know, oh, it doesn't say until end of turn. Yeah, but I knew that's what they meant, so I'm not gonna be an asshole about it, right? But I think people just they started taking themselves too seriously, and the last few times I tried getting back into it, I'd play with my friends at like a game store, and people would be watching over my shoulder and just suddenly pipe up with advice. I'm like, dude, I don't even know you. Where did you come from? This is not what people in normal situations would do. You know, I'm doing my thing. Why are you just coming over here and suddenly talking to me? I mean, yes, I'm a little more personable than that, but that is totally what I wanted to say. I wanted to smack the guy because he was like right over my shoulder and I could practically hear the mouth breathing. Just, you know, and there are people who, Twitch play when they're doing Magic the Gathering or they're flipping their cards and other sorts of things. It's just, it gets annoying. And I know that's what they're trying to do, and they're being way too competitive about playing a card game. Also, I'm not a big fan of trading card games, mostly for the fact that, if you spend a whole bunch of money on cards, get exactly what you want, and then get beaten by somebody who got most of their cards by either random chance or, from cheap bins, maybe they just pick their cards out of like commons and such, and they beat you pretty easily suddenly. And it's like, well, either your cards are terrible or this game is just not that balanced. And it isn't. Which is why each tournament is always within edition, you know. But I never play tournaments. See, I'm not a tournament player in any sort of game, really. I used to play League of Legends, but I played it before they had seasons and the league play. And even after they had leagues, I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it because people in the would just they'd take themselves way too seriously and they wouldn't actually be playing that well because they'd be too worried about playing as the meta. And really, if you can't play the way you want and beat people the way you play, then why would you trust somebody else's method of winning? It baffled me. And people would get on my case for the things I do, and they worked for me. I would win. I won the few league games that I played, but I didn't play more than like 3 to 5, something like that. It was not many because I couldn't do it. People were too serious. And serious business, not good. It's a video game. I play them to relax. And I was playing that. Oh, I'm gonna stomp some noobs. That'll relax me. Sure, not really. I mean, just going in and crushing the souls of other people. Actually, it's funny. I stopped playing Karthus when I played League of Legends because I was tired of people surrendering. I couldn't do it. Like, games would end before I wanted them to, and it just wasn't cool anymore. I stopped playing Karthus. There was a couple other characters that I'd play them, like Rammus. I could turn losing games into winning games near the end as Rammus. It would suddenly be a victory for us. And you wouldn't see it coming, but the enemies, they get all the way up to our base, and I would eliminate them all. And I know that sounds, if you've played League of Legends, it sounds really, what? How does that go? No, no. It's crazy how good I was doing because, I had when I used to play, and I'm sort of sad to admit this, but I had more than 6,000 games under my belt. So when I say that as Rammus, while they were up hitting our Nexus, I could eliminate the entire enemy team, it is what I did. And since it was late in the game, they had such long respawn timers, we blew up their whole base before they came back. No problem. Really. But you don't need me to go on and on about how I used to play that, because seriously, I don't play it anymore. I'm not going to. Don't try to get me into it. Because here's the thing. I had no time to draw, and it actually like took away time that I wanted to allot towards that, mostly because my ex had a really easy way of talking me into playing League of Legends with her. It was not hard. She'd just be like, please, I'm gonna play League of Legends. You wanna come? And then I'd be playing it. That's how bad it was back then. But I really needed to focus on my art, so I can't play games like that. But like I was saying, I never played League with that anyway, so yeah. Well, what would be the point at this point? Because it's been at least 2 years since I played it. Oh, hey, the image is finished. The one with the dying dragon, who won't shut up. Alright, so this picture was more of a open-ended sort of thing. The requester wanted their character in some sort of dark, badass armor with like all this purple energy, swinging a huge sword. And it was like a slightly feminine built male, but the thing is, when you're in armor, especially dark evil armor, you can't really tell the gender so much. It's more like, hey, look, darkness with big sword. So yeah, that's what happened. Darkness dragon in badass armor with big sword. Of course, the armor, I based it off of sort of the Overlord, from the Overlord games, except I added a hood because, hoods. Hoods are cool. Also, I think it was in the request. I think the hood was actually a part of the request itself. Um, you know, Overlord, that was a good game. Sometimes I pop it in again now and then. Lead my minions around, kill dwarves because they're angry, drunken beards with legs. What can I say? I enjoy smashing some dwarves now and then. In Overlord, it's just so awesome. And I love the minions, how they act, some of the things they say. And it's funny, I own Overlord, but no expansion. Not, I don't know, in the second one. The same thing with Fable as well. Which is, well, no, I own the expansion to Fable. Pretty certain. It's somewhere. I don't know where it is. Because, with the whole divorce with my ex, most of my things went into storage, which was kind of shared with her, and some of the things disappeared. And there's really nothing I can do about that. Not anymore. Which is sad. But what you can do. Life, you only go forward. You know what I mean? And really, it's the same thing you can say about a lot of things. There's really only one way, and that's forward. So don't dwell on the past. Keep moving forward. Because I have a lot of past to dwell on. It's crappy. But I'm not going to. Because it's upsetting, it's sad, there's no need for it. Speaking of no need, I'm very thankful for anybody who has stayed with me this whole time and listened to me rant, even though I think my voice is probably a little bit nasally, hard to really stick with, you know what I mean? Because if you guys have just been listening this whole time, grats on you, really. Very nice. Very good job. I'm gonna clap. Here you go. Hey. No. Let's see. Past is the past. Where was I? Jeez. You know, the whole past thing now, I can't remember what I was talking about. So I guess it's time for a new subject. Nobody really commented on my last video of what kind of subjects for me to really talk about, and I think that might be because a lot of people can't really listen the whole way through. You know, that's fine. I don't blame you. If you have the sound off, you just watching because, you know, art, whatever. That's fine. Or maybe it's just not something that'll happen yet. I think my video had, what, 15 views? No problem. We're going to work our way there. See, that's the thing. I'm optimistic about what we can do with this. Which, by the way, if you haven't yet, go ahead and check out my FurAffinity. Link is below, and you can join in to possibly have your artwork, your character drawn here on the stream. And then you can hear my lovely and terrible voice talking about it the whole way. Or talking about something while I'm drawing your art. Oh yeah, here in this piece, I started realizing that the skin tone and the underlay that I always use was almost the same color. So I just removed the underlay and started painting on top. Because when you can't see what you're doing, it ends up leaving a whole bunch of holes. It looks a little weird when you actually end up getting to look at it as a final piece. So I had to make sure that I was getting all the gaps filled in properly. Although, admittedly, it is a sketch. And that's one thing. These are sketches, and I recognize that. So anytime, like, if there is a glaring mistake, I am okay with making mistakes because they're sketches. I mean, they can't be overbearing because they have to be a little bit of what the person really wanted. So I'm not gonna really screw anything up, hopefully. I've been doing this for a while. I'm beyond my 100th sketch. Actually, I just noticed the other day that Mission to the Moon, the first sketch during my last video, was my 100th sketch. Yes, my 100th free sketch. I did it. And of course, I've been doing this since the beginning of January, I think, beginning of February, something like that. But I have actually given away 100 free sketches. Of course, there are a few people that have won multiple times, but that's okay. Without them, I would probably not have enough sketches to really do. And, you know, why is it that I always sketch other people's characters? Well, I have some trouble coming up with random characters. I have a bit of issue using my own characters over and over again because I get bored doing the same thing over and over again. So that's why I've been hosting these free sketches where everybody else says, hey, I have this awesome character of mine that I really love and I would love to see drawn, but you know, either they don't have money or they just want free art or they just want to see what would happen if their character was in a certain situation. So I'm like, all right, cool, come follow the theme and I'll give you a number. A picture gets drawn every day except Tuesdays now. It used to be absolutely every day, but I've decided to start taking off on Tuesdays for this because I need some time for my own personal art because I have started sketching my own characters a little more than I used to. So, yeah, you guys unfortunately don't get Tuesdays anymore, but let's be honest. I give out a lot more free art than a lot of other furry artists, and it's just I enjoy doing free art because it does clear a level of expectancy. I still do commissions, so if you are looking for more refined, finished art and you actually like my style, first off, good on you. Thank you. I enjoy drawing a lot, so if you like my style, most excellent, most excellent. But otherwise, I do actually have my commission options listed in FurAffinity on their commissions list, commissions info, which is actually a really cool engine that they have going there for commissions. I used to try to get commissions through the marketplace on SoFurry, but that one's a little hard to really traverse. And some of the other sites, the way they do it is okay, but it's all right. I remember that for the longest time, though, the commissions info area of FurAffinity was just shut down. Like they didn't even want to do anything with it, and I think there was some sort of backdoor in through that they had found, and that's why they wouldn't finish the area. But they finally fixed that, and thank goodness because it's pretty cool. Of course, a lot of people still do their commission info their own way, usually by drawing a picture with all the different commission types on that picture. But I thought, it might be cool to actually take advantage of the tools that FurAffinity is providing me, and I appreciate what they're doing. Yeah, so if you're listening, Dragoneer, thank you, mostly. Ah. Didn't hear that. Oh, so this picture that I'm doing now, this headless bat sort of thing. The character set or the person who owns the character. Yes, the requester, I guess. Yes, the requester asked to have their head off, like the Cheshire Cat or the Headless Horseman. So I immediately sort of thought, um, Disney sort of thing. And they even said safe for work level, so no blood or gore, which is unfortunate because I like blood or gore. But Cheshire Cat style, he just takes off his hat or his head as if it was a hat. So it's like pop, and he has that big grin. You can roll it around. And I thought, well, if I mix the Cheshire Cat and the Headless Horseman and this crazy long tail, tongue, tongue. I am not editing that out. Anyway, the crazy long tongue that the character has, I thought that I could really make it something fun, creepy, and interesting. So I was like, well, let's have her holding her head upside down by the tongue while on the back of an undead horse. Yeah, yeah, that's it. That totally works for me. Hope it works for you guys. I mean, this picture. It actually got a fair number of likes, or not likes. That's Facebook stuff. I don't even do anything on Facebook. Favorites, comments, that sort of thing. Because I post these sketches on multiple websites. I post them on FurAffinity, SoFurry, Weasel, and Ink Bunny. And I'm like, well, which site is it going to do best on? Some of them do better on some sites than others, which I guess that's expected because I'm reaching a different audience most of the time. With Ink Bunny, though, I only post it at the end of the week because I just post it as a block, as a single submission, because I actually really like Ink Bunny's single submission, multiple pages thing, where you can put one submission in with 7 pages. Actually, I think up to 105, something crazy like that. You could submit an entire comic book in one submission with no problem. And that's fun, isn't it? You could do a lot of things on Ink Bunny that you can't do in other places, but it's also completely open in the sort of content that it accepts, which is the same as So Furry, except on Ink Bunny, I think you can't draw pornography with humans, something like that. Anyway, it's got good features, but some of the audience is a little bit me. So, but my pony friends are over there, and I have a I have a profile there, so I guess I'm there too. So there. Ah. Anyway, eyes. I really enjoy doing eyes. Have you noticed how I really get intricate with the eyes sometimes? In my gallery, you can really tell because when I draw characters for full-on commissions, I really put a lot of detail into the eyes, and I enjoy doing eyes. Actually, coloring is my favorite part of the commissionary process. So eyes are, one of my favorite things, and I've been doing eyes, since I started this whole um, commission art shebang bang thing. I like the depth that I've learned to really put into eyes because eyes are the windows to the soul, as they say. Something, something. All right, this piece. This was a lot of fun. I think this is my favorite for the week. This was Tiger Lily the Bat rescuing the pretty dragoness from the evil fire-breathing princess. And I feel like I put a lot more effort into this than I normally do. Sorry to anybody who feels like they missed out, but it was a really good request. You gotta admit. I basically turned the cliche on its head. I grabbed a Mario style princess. I randomly created a Mario style princess. It's just whatever spoke princess to me, I drew, and it ended up looking like some sort of twisted Princess Peach. Except with slightly auburn hair, which I think there's a Peach version that has that, but I put a P on the crown. You can't really tell that well, but there's a P on the crown. Which stands for princess, by the way. It doesn't stand for peach or petunia or anything else. It stands for princess. So there. But I had to design armor that would fit a bat as well. And that was another fun part. I just basically had to leave room in there for the wing arms, and I still wanted the character to be armored on the torso because you wouldn't rush into battle against a fire-breathing princess and her army of minions, which are probably mushroom people or something. I mean, who knows? You wouldn't rush into battle against them with no armor on, unless you're a plumber. But then you're actually fighting turtles. And what did the turtles ever do to him, right? Yeah, exactly. There's no reason to have such a monstrous amount of turtle-based violence. Oh, yeah, I know. Bowser is based off of the Japanese Kappa, which is a turtle spirit monster demon thing, but he's really far from it's not even close. So not not actually worried about that. But yeah, all the Koopa Troopas getting stomped on, their heads getting squished, the mushroom people getting smooshed. I mean, why all the violence, man? Right? Why all the violence? Can't we just be friends? Which, as most of you probably know, Mario and Peach are actually just friends with Bowser, especially because so many spin-off games are actually just nice sportsmen with one another, and she invites him to tea and other such things. In fact, the main theory is that, hey, the game is actually just a play, and I think that's accented by what, Super Mario 3 or something? I don't know. Super Mario Brothers 3, not just Super Mario. Gosh, can't I even keep my games straight? I used to be a really big video gamer. I called myself a true gamer, and that's because I never used any cheat codes, ever. I did not like using cheats, because it made me feel like I wasn't playing the game as it was intended to be played. So I beat games without cheats. I played. I'm I'm pretty good at most games still, which is a little bit silly to me that my skills are just sitting there. Like there are games that sometimes it's a little bit of a learning curve, but I get used to them pretty quick. Like Darkest Dungeon. Has anybody ever played Darkest Dungeon? That's a game that really it is mean to you for no reason. It just keeps kicking you while you're down. Like, oh, you're down. Well, kick you some more. Yeah, it kills off your heroes pretty quickly, and the whole sanity feature is one of my favorites. But the problem is, in a lot of YouTuber videos, it's almost never included as one of those Lovecraftian inspired video games. And I think it's because it's on Steam, and a lot of those people, for some reason, don't know Steam is a thing. I don't know. Like, seriously, though, Darkest Dungeon is definitely Lovecraftian inspired. I mean, just when when you go up to one of those altars and you throw your torch on there, you, you have to fight the tentacled mass horror that comes out of the darkness. I love it, honestly. I take as many risks as possible in that game, and it just keeps beating me up. I love it. Oh, that's one of those games that I still play. Uh, and sometimes I'll play games like Valdus Story. Ooh, I bet a lot of people don't even know what that is, but I'll play that. I used to play a lot of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I'd play it on was it no equipment mode, where basically you have to fight with your fists and you can't wear armor. You know, but the the but the fact that I knew all of the spell combinations made it not so bad for me, because I was basically, it was mage mode for me. I had to go through as Alucard the mage. I'm a vampire. Well, okay, I just throw spells at people. I'm gonna do fire, 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 soul steal, over and over again. But man, that still to this day, my favorite Castlevania. I think it is the best one of all time. Hard to dispute that, really, because of how awesome it is. And, they even brought it back on PlayStation Portable, and I got that again as well. I also got Final Fantasy Tactics for the PlayStation Portable, because I owned it on the PlayStation. I I still have it somewhere. Somewhere. I don't even remember where all my PlayStation discs are, but I have a PlayStation 3 and I can play PlayStation 1 games on it. I know that because I've loaded Einhander on it a few times, and Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which Einhander's another pretty hard game, especially if you try to play it without going into extended mode, which means never using a continue, ever. Which means that all you have are those 3 lives, and it is brutal because it's one hit and you blow up. Unless, of course, you block the hit with one of your guns, because you can flip them around and try to make it so they take the hit instead. But it is not a game to be taken lightly. Well, there's a lot of those, and those are the kinds of games I feel like I enjoy more. Then there's games where I play more for a casual need. I've actually played through Dragon Age over and over again, and I still play it to this day to help me go to sleep. Actually, I play it in bed while getting ready to sleep, and that's mostly because I don't have to think that hard for Dragon Age. Even though I always play it on nightmare difficulty, because otherwise it's just a walk in the park. I gotta be able to think a little bit. Even though right now I'm playing the cheapest character. I'm playing a fighter who has dual weapons. I'm wearing King Kalen's armor, and I have the Vashale and uh, Blight Blood or something, whatever it's called, equipped. Not the Reaper's Cudgel. I sold that in order to buy, Soul Ward, Life Ward, what's it called? The Life Giver, something like that. It's a ring that gives you health regeneration in combat and a whole bunch of other stats. But Spell Ward is one of the important ones to pick up, and that's an amulet that gives you what, 30%, 20% spell resistance, something like that. And yes, I know I could sell and resell the Reaper's Cudgel in order to get some crazy 600 sovereigns or something like that, but what did I say about cheats? What did I say just a little bit ago about cheats? Then again, who's really listening to me babble, right? If you are still listening, thanks so much. We're 5 pictures in, which means that you have actually been listening to me for more than half an hour, probably about 40 minutes by this point. Although this image is almost over, it's, like I said, I think this one is my favorite one of the week. Although I could have done better with the fire effects, like I said, sketch. But I mean, check it out. The link's below if you want to look at the full piece. It is excellent. A lot of people appreciated it across the sites. Well, okay, so Furry and FurAffinity, because nobody really goes to Weasel anymore. I just post on there because if anybody who does win from me is on Weasel, they can add the sketch to their collection, which, collections on Weasel is actually a really cool tool because it allows people to basically show off the piece that they got without having to repost the piece. So, collections is a pretty cool item on Weasel. I wish FurAffinity had something like collections, but it doesn't. So a lot of pieces get reposted. Which, by the way, if you won and you have a piece that has one of your characters in it that I've drawn, you can totally repost it. Just link back to me. In fact, link back to my to the free raffles. Have other people enter. It'll be awesome because the more people that enter, the more diversity there is, the more different people who win. And I know you probably want to win them all, right? You can't win all 6. No, you can only win one of them. And what happens then? Oh, you want your friends to play. Come on, it's a lot of fun. And besides, these are free. If you don't win, it's nothing that you didn't, or you're left with what you already had. Like, you're not paying anything for this. You're just coming by, you're given an idea of what you'd like, and then you're saying, all right, if I win, cool. If I don't, well, maybe you'll enter next week, right? Right? Each week is a new theme, and it's a lot of fun. I gotta say, though, one of my favorite themes, I think, was friendship. So I might bring it back again. Friendship was where you had to pick a character owned by one of your friends as well and make a request with their character involved with yours. So that could be just about anything, really. And I think I liked that the most because it gave me the opportunity to really have people interacting with one another in many different situations. Um, I think most of them were actually safe for work situations. I I had friends playing video games together. I had one guy riding the back of his pony friend, jousting, and I had a lot of different really cool things. But I gotta say, one of my favorite images came out of Magic. That not Magic the Gathering. We already talked about that. I don't care about that. Anyway, Magic the theme, which it involved a Chihuahua, which is weird because normally I don't like Chihuahuas, but it was a pretty good picture. And there was a Macbeth reference in there, so if anybody looks at the picture, remember, it's deeper than you think. Oh, and there's a reference to basil, which I really like putting basil in a lot of things that I cook. I'll put basil flakes in just about anything. Yet, I put it in everything if I want. Uh, let's see. Oh, yes. And remember, if there's anything that you want me to go over, you want me to talk about, you got any questions about my art, what I kind of do when I'm drawing here, leave them in the comments below. And don't forget, subscribe and like this. Because I, sometimes I lack motivation. I see people enjoying stuff, it's right back. And I don't have much of a problem with motivation, but sometimes it's just like, come on, I don't know if I should do things. Oh, but people enjoy it, so I'm gonna go do it. Come on. You like free art? I like free art, and that's why I'm giving free art to people because I like it. You like it. We all like free. Who doesn't like free? So come on, please give me a like. It's free to like me. And subscribe if you want to see other videos like this, uh, other videos that I do in the future, which are mostly going to be like this. I'm hoping to maybe you really get more into the drawing video sort of thing. I've been watching a lot of draw withs lately. Most of them are draw with Jazza, which he doesn't know I exist. So I'm saying it because I enjoy watching his videos a lot, really. Uh, yeah, I know most of the stuff that he's teaching, but I'm still going through his videos. Actually, earlier yesterday, I was just going through his videos trying to see if he had any videos on worm's eye perspective because there's like one that's worth its value on uh, YouTube that's actually listed as worm's eye perspective or upshot or up perspective, where it's basically from the legs to the head. You're looking up from an extreme angle, and it's one thing that I really want to get better at. And there's nothing on it. Like really, there's just the one video, and it's okay, but it's only one guy's perspective. You know what I mean? It's fun to learn how to draw. It's, I own a lot of how to draw books. I only own like two from Christopher Hart, which is because I think that is he's a experienced teacher, because he does it a lot, but I wouldn't call his style my favorite, so I don't want to learn as much from him, but I have a lot of how to draw books, but I want more. And every new artist who's teaching other artists how to draw is another new perspective, and I love it. But books are not as intuitive for learning as videos because videos are more like real-time teaching, whereas books are like you could easily skip ahead with your eyes by accident. Like it just ends up getting done, and it doesn't really give you a sense of time and work. Oh, geez, the piece is done. All right, well, Like, subscribe, comment if you have any ideas for next time. Check out the links to all the pictures, and I will see you on the next video.